Now, we finally have an update on the drowning death of Malcolm Jamal Warner. Now, according to ABC 7, they stated that Malcolm Jamal Warner had drowned while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. Now, the article goes on to say that Warner had drowned off the coast of Costa Rica on Sunday. So, this actually occurred on Sunday. They stated that the Costa Rican National Police had told this to ABC News. Now, the coroners in Costa Rica had also labeled his death by asphyxia. The article goes on to state that the actor died near Cocles, which is a beach in Limon, Costa Rica.
Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't drown. That's the assertion his wife is finally making public. And once you listen closely, you begin to see the official story unravel like a poorly tied rope. For years, tabloids and headlines ran the same narrative: a tragic but simple accident off a Costa Rican beach. Rip currents, no lifeguards, a strong swimmer overcome. But that was always too neat, too convenient. Now, with his wife speaking, a different truth is emerging, and it's far more disturbing. She has remained anonymous to protect family, especially their daughter. But in her voice there is no hiding, no polite discretion. She is precise, steady, unwavering. What she's describing sounds less like grief and more like raw evidence. She says Malcolm received coordinated anonymous threats for weeks. These weren't random trolls, they were direct warnings. Stop speaking out, or suffer the consequences. She warns that the timing wasn't coincidental. It followed public episodes on his podcast, calling out powerful figures. The threats made him fearful, tense, aware, and it changed everything. Quiet turned to compelled escape. She says Costa Rica wasn't just a vacation. It was a strategic retreat from danger, a place where Malcolm thought maybe he could breathe deep enough to strategize, to think. But he never came back. Instead, what followed was tragedy, but not one that makes sense the way it was told. Malcolm was a strong swimmer. He knew how to navigate surf, tides, rip currents, and according to people on the scene, when he entered the water, he gave no sign of panic. He didn't try to swim. He didn't wave or shout. He simply slipped beneath surface. That should have been the first glaring clue. But there's more. The initial autopsy, he alleged, showed no water in the lungs. Water would have had to enter after brain death for drowning to even happen. Yet every official source stuck to the drowning narrative. And the full autopsy? Never released. Not to the family or to the public. That silence, intentional or not, is now seen by many as the most damning detail. She also suggests Malcolm might have been poisoned, not with heavy metals or easily detectable toxins, but with something subtle, perhaps synthetic, designed to incapacitate without a trace. It's a theory that would challenge most autopsy testing protocols. If true, it would explain why he dropped dead before entering the water, and why the drowning story covered every pain-stopping moment afterward. But there's a deeper motive here. Malcolm's voice had become disruptive. His podcast, Not All Hood, began rising in influence, not because it was sensational, but because it was unflinching. He didn't just comment, he questioned systems. He severed euphemism. In one episode, he highlighted the stark contrasts: Cosby versus Polanski. Why black creators are erased instantly, while white ones keep thriving. People noticed that he wasn't just talking about entertainment. He was laying bare a power play. On another episode, he labeled content division within black communities as entertainment tools, engineered conflict designed to distract. He used the example of Kendrick versus Drake, framing it as a cultural product, not personal beef. When the industry profits off our division, he said, they win when we fight. His fans picked up on the underlying tone in his final episodes, something urgent, unsparing, unflinching, and none of it felt like routine commentary. In retrospect, it feels like warning. Just before the tragedy, a strange clip surfaced, a lone video, grainy, showing Malcolm walking the shoreline. No credits, no news coverage, just him moving calmly. At first glance, it felt serene. Later, chilling. Who filmed it? Why didn't news networks air it? His wife isn't certain, but she wonders if someone was surveilling him. Timing matters. That video may have been meant for someone else, and now, in context, it takes on a weight beyond casual wander. Locals say that beach had red flag warnings posted that very day. Lifeguard presence was negligible. Nearby warnings noted the risk. and yet Malcolm reportedly walked in alone. Another man was also in the water. His identity remains undisclosed. He left unharmed. Malcolm vanished. His child visited a local clinic, received minimal care. Malcolm died. That discrepancy, strongest swimmer gone, others safe, doesn't add up unless someone engineered the scenario. When his wife finally agreed to speak out, she began dismantling the official narrative. She laid out the texts, calls, emails, the threats that he received. Each one escalated, each one designed to intimidate. She marked the last exchanges as particularly threatening. Malcolm, she says, started to brace himself for something mounting. This wasn't random fear. This was fear directed by someone who had access, awareness, and power. In his final days, her statement suggests Malcolm was preparing to go public. Not just with words, but with documentation, old emails, internal messages, maybe recordings, enough to expose patterns. And once that evidence existed, she believes someone realized, this man isn't just talking, he's about to release. So the question becomes, what threats someone's reputation? What evidence that powerful? We still don't have the autopsy. We still don't know who the other man was. There's no photos or videos of the alleged rescue, even in a culture where phones capture everything. The official reports, Deadpan calls it an accidental drowning, but the family is shut out of the forensic notes. The press has barely pushed. Social media, outside of fan speculation, stayed calm. But his wife is raising her voice and more people are listening. Her anonymity has a purpose, to protect family and to keep the focus on the truth, not her identity. She's disavowed publicity. She wants justice. She wants answers. Now, public opinion is beginning to shift. People are asking, why was the full autopsy withheld? Why no transparency on the other swimmer? Why no bystander footage? Why Costa Rican authorities left communication vague and non-committal? Why did U.S. outlets accept the drowning narrative so readily? We've seen this in the industry before. Figures who refuse to acclimate to Hollywood norms sometimes face financial marginalization, or worse. Systems don't just ignore them. Sometimes they vanish quietly. And Malcolm was using his platform to unsettle, not for celebrity, for accountability. Now his wife is carrying that torch, not with anger, but evidence. With challenge, not spectacle. With demand, not distraction. Every inconsistency she exposes chips away at the dominant story that says he dived in, tried to swim, and lost. But imagine if she's right, if she's even partly correct. Then this isn't an accidental tragedy. It's a silencing. It's erasure turned lethal. It's a story carefully crafted to paint confusion over clarity. As long as she speaks, that silence can't hold. And maybe the most powerful moment isn't the drowning, but the unveiling. The courage to step forward despite grief, to defy obfuscation, to say no more, because the deeper you dig, the darker things get. But if truth matters, and if justice matters, then silence doesn't win, especially not when someone decides to break it. Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't drown. He was silenced. His wife is making sure the world hears why.